How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Draw Talk, the series where we cover anything drawing related. And perhaps the most useful thing about this series is that I can use it as a way for me to create shorter tutorial style content as well that can tie into the other videos on the channel. Now, if you've been watching the recent videos, you'll know that we've been exploring perspective drawing. And in this episode, I'm going to show you a more planned out and accurate way to set up a view in perspective. It's really useful for design work, but it can be quite confusing at first, so of course I'll do my best to explain this, and yeah, let's roll that intro. Okay, so I'm going to go over something that might seem very complex at first, but I'm going to do my best to try and explain. In this video I'm taking a more planned out approach, which means I'm not going to be drawing freehand or estimating. It's suitable for accurate design work, and I've used it in some of the architectural work as well. When we want to draw something in perspective, we need something called a picture plane. This could essentially be your entire piece of paper, or it could be a section on the piece of paper like this, but all of our drawing is going to be set in that picture plane. This is just a small example, almost like a thumbnail sketch, but this applies to working at any scale. The best way to understand this concept of a picture plane is to imagine it as being a piece of glass in front of us, similar to when we look outside of the window at a view. The window is our plane and the view would be our drawing. Anyways, the next thing we need is the horizon line, and you should already be familiar with this if you've watched some of the previous videos on perspective drawing, but I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just place this in the middle of our picture plane, but if I wanted to draw something from a certain level, then I could choose a specific placement for this line that would give me the result I'm after. Now from this point, usually we would place the vanishing points, and working freehand I would just add these points randomly on this line and then construct some forms from there. But like I said at the start, in this case we are trying to accurately plan out and create a drawing in perspective, knowing the result that we are going to get and also avoiding distortion in the drawing. And if we want to do that, then we need to consider something called the cone of vision. It sounds like something from a science fiction film, but the cone of vision is our field of vision. For example, if I stick my hands out like this, and I can't really do it in this room because it's a bit small, but I can't see my hands right now, whereas if I bring them inwards, I slowly start to see them as they enter this area of sight, and this area is called the cone of vision. This is usually a standard of 45 to 60 degrees, and everything that is outside of this cone of vision will be distorted, and the same applies in our drawing. If we draw something outside the cone of vision, then it will be distorted, so it's kind of limiting in a way, but it's also good because it gives you an area where you can confidently draw without having to worry about that. But let's create a cone of vision in our drawing. We start by finding our central focus point, so the point in which we would be looking at in the drawing. I'm going to drop a line down from there, and again all of this relates back to real life. We are essentially doing what a camera does, but this point will be the center point of our cone of vision. And so because, like I mentioned earlier, our drawing is going to be inside this picture plane, we also want the cone of vision to cover all of this. And so with this being our center point, I'm going to go ahead and draw in the cone of vision, a circle using a compass. So now that we have this drawn out, everything inside it will be perfectly accurate and in perspective and not distorted, unless it's quite close to the edge, but we do have control of that. Now we can get into things like changing the degree of our cone of vision to suit what we are drawing, but I want to keep this simple, and with this example it's almost like we are working backwards, but I'm going to use a 60-degree cone of vision, which is a good standard for most drawings. So what I'm going to do is find the point in which our cone crosses the horizon, and I'm going to bring lines down from either side, making sure the angle between these at our central focus point line is about 60 degrees. I'm going to use a protractor to help me work out this angle. The point in which these lines meet is the station point and pretty much represents the viewpoint where we would be looking at our object. Okay, so now this next step is what is going to give us the angle of our drawing. So normally we would just randomly place our vanishing points on the horizon, but this time we have the opportunity to accurately choose the placement of these points and also get an idea of the drawing that we will get as a result. If we are drawing objects with 90-degree corners, then we will have an angle of 90 degrees between our two vanishing point lines from the station point. So for example, I'm going to place a left vanishing point here and then bring that line to the station point. Now this isn't at any specific location, I just know that from that the next vanishing point will have to be at a 90-degree angle from here. And so we are able to easily find that angle and then bring that up to the horizon line as well. And now we are pretty much set to go. We have accurately located the vanishing points and we can use these to create some construction lines, produce a grid, and then draw our subject in the cone of vision, avoiding any distortion. So real quickly, I'll run through this again. I start by drawing a picture plane. I then draw the horizon line. I choose a central focus point and drop a line down from there. Remember that the central focus point doesn't have to be in the center of the picture plane, it's wherever you want to direct your line of sight. I then use that as the center point of our cone of vision and draw in the cone, placing the picture plane inside. I then find the point where the cone passes the horizon line and bring them lines down to this line from the center point at a 60-degree angle. That will give us a 60-degree cone of vision and also locate the station point. Now I choose the placement of the vanishing points, making sure these total up to 90 degrees. I'm able to choose a range of complementary angles. In this example, I'll put the left vanishing point at 45 degrees and then the right point at 45 degrees as well, totaling to 90. Now I'm ready to start drawing in the picture plane using these vanishing points. I'm just going to create some basic forms because this video is focusing more on how to set up something like this. Remember that we are able to block out any object in perspective though, using these forms, and that's what we will be exploring in future videos. Now we can also create some more vanishing points for more objects. Here I'll create a left point at 60 degrees and then a right one at 30 degrees. This right vanishing point will be away from the drawing surface. Also, to give an example, I'll go ahead and draw something outside of this cone of vision so that you can see how the object becomes a little distorted. We can work outside the picture plane there, as long as it's in the cone of vision. Now here are some annotations and feel free to screenshot this for further study. So there we go, that's a quick example of a useful method to accurately set up a view in perspective, and the drawing which I did was only small, but I wanted to focus this more on the setup and how to construct something like this, because once you know that, you can apply it to anything that you want to draw yourself. I'll also be uploading the annotated image over on Instagram, so feel free to head over there to check that out, maybe if you want to study it further or something. But that's pretty much everything from me today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.